Hello, everyone. In today's video, we're going to be answering a question I've been having recently about heavy bombers and their overall modern effectiveness. I read a lot of things in the news about, standoff this and standoff that, and, modern target environments and all those. And of course, I've been reading a lot of books about, B-52s and things like that recently. So I'm like, it might be a good time to go ahead and see just what advantages there are to some of these modern bomber types. So what we have today is a relatively straightforward scenario. We have coming up here up in Esfahan, and we're going to be trying to attack the Nuclear Technology Center. Now, I kept Iran very, very simple as far as deployments go. Obviously, they got a radar net, which works well. They've got some fighters airborne. We're pretty much around the clock, ready to go to make things interesting for us. And we're basically going to try out a couple different platforms and sort of see what happens when we do it. Now, personally, I don't think this is going to go well for any of the platforms. It might be a little too stacked, but keep in mind in the real world, you never attack with one bomber just sort of hanging out. You combine it with comms jamming and all that other good stuff to make it a little bit more challenging for the enemy. You also use standoff weapons when you're dealing with surface-to-air missiles, but we're not going to do that because we're dumb. All right, let's do it. So first up, of course, is going to be the B-52. This is a very conventional aircraft. It's a very awesome airplane. Lots and lots and lots of capability with this particular airplane. But unfortunately with the B-52, as you know, there's nothing stealthy about it. So once we get it in the air, of course, it has to rely basically on standoff weapons alone for the purposes of doing its deed. So what we'll try to do here is we'll try to use the B-52 the way that it's kind of intended in modern audiences here. Now, our loadout here consists of AGM-158s and JASSMs. This is basically the most stacked and most modern B-52 we could have here. If I wanted to make this harder for us, what I could have done is put a bunch of racks of, M117s in here or something like that. But it would have been slaughtered. There's just no chance. So what I'm going to do is try to use it the way that, finger quote, it needs to be used. So I'm going to go press Control F1 here. I'm going to go ahead and drop a bunch of these lovely, lovely active jamming decoys. Now, the reason I'm using these here is because it's going to basically give the B-52 a chance. Because without them, we basically have no chance in the universe to even come within 15 feet. We're already on enemy radar right now, basically. And unless I absolutely pepper them with this purpose, it's just, we're not going to get very far. And like I said, we could have tried to run up there and drop some Mark 84s, for example, which is what we'll do with the other bombers, but it just wouldn't work. So what we would do normally with a B-52 is this. We'd fire a bunch of these decoys all at the same time, and they're going to kind of go ahead of the actual weapons itself. So with those all in the way, we now have to use our weapons conventionally. And what you'll notice here is we have JASSMs. Again, anybody could shoot a JASSM, but I'm trying to kind of show you sort of the differences between the different units here. So we're going to have to get a little bit closer. Now, the fun thing is if we switch to the other side, you'll probably observe the fact that we have no idea where this B-52 is right now. All right, we're coming into range right now. Stand by to deploy the JASSMs. And pause. Fantastic. Let's do the deed. So we're going to go ahead and drop a few of these. Obviously, it's going to take a few. So we'll do a 4 into that one. We'll come over here. We'll do another 4 into this one. And again, remember, the modern B-52 is not a let's drop a bunch of bombs off the rack. And, well, I guess it's a trick question. Let's just say it's very versatile, but the intention is for it to be basically a missile carrier. All right, we have done our deed. I'm going to go turn around and head back home. Now, the interesting thing here, now this is the cool thing, is when you set up a wave of jamming like this with the decoys, basically the enemy is going to see the JASSMs, and that's one of the reasons why it works so well. So as you can see here, my jammers start all breaking off and confusing the heck out of the enemy aircraft. Uh-oh. Oh, there it is. My B-52 is being chased down right now, which does not surprise. Uh-oh. They're shooting at things. I can see I'm losing my jammers left and right here, which does not surprise me. Take a look at the mission time, by the way. We started up that was quite a while ago. That just gives you an idea. It took almost 2 hours. Missiles are coming into range, and the JASSMs struck the target basically completely unhindered. And again, a JASSM is a stealth missile. We had everything stacked in its favor. It did a great job. B-52 gets to go home. Now, let's make this scenario a little bit harder. Now, if I just went to load up a bunch of Mark 84s and try to drop them, I said twice already, nothing would happen. We'd fail. Well, let's grab the B-1. Now, the B-1 here, again, we're going to be stacking it a little bit against it in this particular case. And now, the reason I want to stack it against it a little bit is just to demonstrate to you how tough it is to utilize aircraft like this at this time. So let's go grab our B-1 real quick here. I'm going to go ahead and order him up north. Now, one of the fun things the B-1 can do that none of the other bombers can do is they travel supersonic. And by supersonic, I'm not saying they're doing like, XB-70 speeds or anything like that, but they will move pretty quick. So what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to do a low-level penetration strike here. Now, one thing the B-1 has that works great is it has fabulous jamming on board. I ran a scenario many, many years ago in the original Command Modern Operations, the naval one with the N and the O in there, where basically I tried to attack a massive ring of S-400s. This is the closest I ever got was with a B-1, and basically because their jamming is so sophisticated. So what we're going to do is we're basically going to do a penetration here. We're going to go down to minimum altitude as fast as we can. And for those of you who have not played DCS with Iran here and basically the whole Persian Gulf, this place is mountainous. My buddy and I remember one of my favorite DCS missions I've ever flown was being in the backseat of an F-14, basically going through these at night in low clouds. Now, when I say that, yeah, that'll definitely scare the crap out of you. Trust me on that one. All right, so what we need to do now is we need to do a conventional bombing strike. Now, if we were smart, of course, what we would try to do is we try to kind of do one of these and kind of go between this like that. But that's just not going to happen. So what I'm going to do is try to design it so that we spend just a little tiny bit of time in the target region. The probability of losing our poor B-1 here is pretty much 100%. I don't think there's going to be any way we're going to survive this, but we're going to try it anyway. And like I said, that's kind of the idea. So the idea of the B-1, of course, would be to fly very, very low. And to give you an idea of how stupid low we are right now, let me grab the 3D view just a moment here. Yes, because the KC-135 is the most interesting thing going on here. But if you take a look here, our B-1 is like going down valleys in between mountains as it's kind of ripping along here. And this aircraft will do this without any trouble. When they tried to do this with B-52s in the early days, they actually lost their tails. It's just, they weren't structurally designed for that. That B-1, terrain. All right, let's try this. So on our way, of course, I'm going to go ahead and press Shift 1. I'm going to go ahead and drop our entire stack. And don't do automatic salvo till I'm out, because otherwise it'll just shut itself off in 5 minutes, and we don't want that. All right, here we go. Oh boy, this is not going to go well. So again, we're doing low-level penetration. We've got the ECM going full blast here. We're just a few, basically 300 feet off the ground. We're trying to take advantage of the terrain we can. This is the original intention of the B-1. We're already getting locked up by a fighter, and of course, there's other nastiness down here. But you can see he is just chilling off the ground, just coming over. You got to take a look at this. This is so cool. All right, pop that 3D view up one more time. One of the most common questions I always see on Discord is TACView worth it? TACView is 100% worth it if you use it for other things. That's my official opinion. That is not endorsed. Again, nobody paid me to say that or not say that, but I'm just saying that is my opinion on the matter. But anyway, our B-1 is ripping along very, very low altitude here and kind of catching. We're getting a SAM warning. Our jammers are cranked up to actually, it'd be smart is instead of turning that way to actually turn this way. It seems a lot safer. All right, let's go that way. Because that way we're not flying right over the head of the SAM. Because again, this is going to be nasty. Oh man, we might actually get away with this. This is awesome. I didn't know. Oh, there it goes. Now notice I use the airdrop bombs here. Go home, go home, go home, go home. Minimum altitude, afterburner, get out, get out, get out, get out, get out, get out. Yes, it worked. All right, so now the question here is going to be survivability. Oh, just flew over the top of a SAM. That was lucky. Oh, here comes the SAMs now. Here comes the SAMs. We got one coming right in behind him. I can't believe he and the B-1's gone. Okay, so as far as success goes, we totally obliterated the target perfectly. Everything worked in that sense, but our B-1 did not make it home. Bummer. All right, let's go grab the next guy. Next contestant, please, of course, is the B-2. Now, the B-2 is an interesting airplane because it is a stealth plane, and we would never launch them from Al's garage here. We'd be launching them from Wichita, Kansas, way over here, and we basically refuel them on the way. But nobody wants to sit around and watch my screen for 8 hours as the thing tries to get into position. So we're going to do it the easy way. Oh, there it is. Let's go ahead and grab it, and let's do the deed here. Now, the B-2, a big thing with the B-2 is its stealth. And that's going to be what we're going to be trying to take advantage of here. We have no fancy jamming. We have none of that. One of the things we will do, by the way, is press F2. You can see there's a lot of moderate clouds right above my head here, which is awesome, which means we're basically protected from being seen by the ground. It's not going to stop other things from seeing us, but we're going to try. Okay, so right away, we're getting a warning from a mobile SAM site. That doesn't surprise me in the slightest. The B-2, everybody thinks it's invisible. It's really only invisible if you jam the bejesus out of things behind it. It's the only way you can really use that properly. So we're going to go ahead and now do our lock onto our target here. We're going to drop our entire stack of just 16, which is not a big stack, and we're going to be doing it from altitude here. One of the smart things we could do, of course, is come down to 25. That's going to give us, actually, I want to stay in the moderate clouds. What can we do to stay in the moderate clouds? 31? We'll do 3,500. There we go. Come on back down. All right, let's give it a try. Oh, boy. Now, I don't know about you, but they would have radar warning receivers, and those things would just be blinking and beeping and chirping like crazy. And of course, now we're getting a warning of a fighter. There's a pair of fighters. Oh, great. This is going to go really bad if those fighters find the B-2. B-2, unfortunately, is a very, very obvious large target here. All right, here we go. We want to confirm one more time that we are doing automatic salvo tone. Nope, we're good. Oh boy, there's a pair of very angry fighters on the way right now. Okay, here we go. Here we go. So notice our B-2 made it all the way here. He drops his weapons. He's got to run home. Go, 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 go. Get out of here. Go, go, go. Oh, it worked. Now our B-2 just got shot down by fighters. Womp, womp. Okay, so we can see very clearly there that the stealth advantage got us to the target, no problem. It did nothing for us once fighters were involved. So that leaves, of course, the B-1, or the B-21, of course, 2021 bomber. So we again have a very similar loadout, and one of the things I found so fascinating is the B-21 here carries 16 Mark 84s, so does the B-2. So this is a cheaper, again, you can't see my finger quotes, but they're there, aircraft. Theoretically, it's also, well, theoretically a very stealthy one, and we're going to try to see what happens this time. All right, there it is. Let's go ahead and grab it real quick. Actually, if I click here, I should just be able to get it. Nice. Oh boy, here we go. All right, this thing is $870 million. And you can see here that, again, this is a hypothetical platform because, you know, I haven't personally flown one of these, but we're here to find out what happens. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this one real quick. We're going to go ahead and load that one up. All have been allocated. I'm going to go ahead and look as straight in the center of the screen as I can to give us a nice clean hit there. Again, we're going to take advantage of the exact same nice nasty clouds, because with the nasty clouds, it makes it a little bit easier. 3,500. I'm actually very impressed the B-2 did the deed there. That's some really accurate bombing. All right, we're automatically going ahead and detecting a SAM here, which is a surprise to me. There's an S-300 down there waiting. And I can see there's a couple fighters coming to say hello here, which is probably bad news for us. But like I said, that's what we're here to find out. We're just trying to judge which does it work in a modern environment. And again, you would never send one of these on its own into the middle of a hostile country with enemy aircraft active. You just don't do that. But we're here to test it. All right, he did his thing. Go ahead and come home. The smarter thing to do, by the way, would be to basically come through. All right, target was obliterated, and this is going to... we might get away with this. Look, 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 look. Oh, we're going to get away with it. We're going to get away with it. Oh, that is awesome. We got away with it. Excellent. All right, come on home, B-21. You win our prize today. Come on back. Nice. All right, let's talk conclusions here. First of all, you would never be stupid and send something that expensive on its own into an enemy territory with fighters. And I think actually the big takeaway from all of this is fighters are the real danger. The SAMs basically were worthless at taking shots at our bombers, with the exception of even the B-1. The B-1 got tapped as it basically took its kind of evasion turn there because, of course, it was an infrared SAM that hit it. But you could see very clearly here that the stealth planes were able to do the job. It was the fighters that made it basically impossible. Oh, this gives me a bad idea. You know what I was thinking. All right, let's do it. So we're going to go ahead and use a strike mission this time. This feels weird. Shoot this thing. I mean, why not, right? All right, we'll do a land strike here. Press okey doke. Go ahead and make sure the game is paused. Looks good. Let's grab our B-21. Whoa, 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 before I do that, you want to go ahead and disable that. We'll grab the B-21. Oh, look at that. For some reason, there's some F-35s at Al's garage. I wonder what the deal with that is. Let's mark those selected as escorts. Let's go back up to here. Let's see. It looks good to me. Escort settings. We're going to do a flight size of 4. Well, actually, 2 makes a little bit more sense here. All right, that looks good to me. That looks good to me. That looks good to me. We have one target, which is our target. That looks good. That looks good. All right, all right. Okay, so let's try this. So the theory here is with F-35s as escort... Oh, you know what we forgot to do? We forgot to tell them not to waste AMRAAMs. All right, let's go fix that. Let's see here. AMRAAMs, we can't use maximum range. If you do maximum range, you're wasting your time. We'll do 30 nautical miles. That's much, 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 much better. Guided weapons. I don't think you're going to take a shot at a guided weapon, but hey, let's see what they do. All right, here they go. Here they are. Here we go. Here we go. My brain always hears Mission Impossible music. Now check this out. The F-35s all the way over here, because of that amazing radar, have already not only seen the enemy aircraft, they've identified them as what they are. That's incredible. What a stacked advantage. Look at this. Look at this. These guys don't even know there's an F-35 coming for them right now. This is so stacked. Look at this. Look at this. The fight is over before they even knew there was a battle. Man, that is a totally different experience when you send an escorted bomber down. Look at this. This is so unfair. And one of the F-14s got away with it. He's damaged. Yep, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. This fight's over. Bonk. Oh, guess not. Now, one of the things you notice is I did take the time to go ahead and set my F-14. It's over. All right. B-21, you have all afternoon now to go ahead and deliver your ordnance, so please proceed. Okay, no problem. If you insist, bombs away. Mission accomplished. And he's going to go ahead and run back home, but surprise, there's more fighters, which means my F-35s, in their haste to return back to base, oh, that was a pretty good rhyme, have now left the B-21 completely exposed. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Remember, there's always another bad guy. And can the B-21 get home in time? Yes, he made it. Nice. That was much, much, much tighter than it should have been there. They get some gas, they run back. Awesome. All right, let's talk conclusions. First of all, never send a bomber on its own. Number two, stealth gets you there against SAMs. It does nothing against fighters. And of course, number three, the B-52 with standoff weapons is the safest options, if the most expensive one for sure. Enjoy.